you their secret sauce and what it is that they're doing, but it won't do you any good unless you actually take this information and put it into your own daily activities and do what they're doing. That was a big thing for my husband and I when we came over January of 2019 as well. Our goal was to be an ICON agent. At the time, we thought there's no way we're going to be able to do that, knowing how much we've done in the past. But once we started going to these ICONversations and going to these classes and actually taking their information and putting it into place, it was a total game changer. So it was super exciting to be able to host this leadership meeting and then also to be able to introduce ICONversations. It's exciting. We've got Alicia Cook, who's going to be your moderator, and then 3 top-notch icons, Elizabeth Riley from Texas. Again, if you have not heard her speak and listen to her, she is a must to go watch and see. Got Karen from Florida in the Tampa area and Tim from California. So we are all over the place. How awesome is that Verbella brings agents from all over the United States, all over the world to be able to teach each other. So super awesome.
All right, well, I think that's a wrap. Hang around for ICONversations and have a great weekend, and certainly to every father in the room, happy Father's Day. We appreciate you very, very much. Bye now.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Great.
Excellent. Great. I'm super excited to be here with everybody and get started talking to some great agents all across the country, it looks like, and help everybody to elevate their businesses, to the next level, to reach ICON status, or even, some tips and tricks to be able to keep the ICON status. Do we have everybody here today?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Let's start with the ladies, and let's just start talking about, who you are, where you're from, and your level of production. Are you guys on a team or single agents?
Who's going first?
Karen, go for it.
Okay. Hey, good morning. Well, good morning for some, good afternoon for others in Eastern Coast here. My name is Karen Romero. I'm in the Tampa Bay area. I have been a realtor for 23 years. I do have my broker's license. And I am I was a single agent for a very, very long time. My business is more relational. So I have past clients that I nurture, and since coming to EXP, learning all the tools, I have been growing a team. So that's where I am.
What about you, Elizabeth?
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Riley. I'm in Austin, Texas. Hope you all are well. It's great to see you. I've been licensed for about 15 years. I got licensed first in Georgia, and then we were transferred to Texas in 2008. So I started over, and I have the Lux Property Group. Although we look like a team and we act like a team, we're not really a team. We're all individual agents that work under the same brand. And so we just collaborate together. We share ideas and marketing ideas, but we have very different businesses, different clientele, and it just makes us look bigger competing in the Austin market. Last year, so I just hit my 5th ICON. Last year I just did about just right under 20 million in production, and my business is all 100% referral and sphere based.
Wow, I love that. Are we missing our other person here?
Yeah, we're still.
still early.
We'll just continue on and we'll just let Tim join in as soon as he gets here. So I think we can all relate to, it's kind of been it's been an interesting 2020, I think, for everybody. Some people have really slowed down. Other people have kept, right on trucking, depending on your particular market. So what are 3 things that, that you guys are doing that's maybe different from last year, or just something that, you've always done that's really kind of helped elevate your business?
I'll jump in. So the whole pandemic situation has kind of been an unexpected gift of time, if you will. And for me, it just allowed me to get back to the things that I know I need to be doing. I get so busy and we get pulled in a million different directions. And so being forced to stop, it really forced me to look at my clients, my database, and plug in and check in with them. So I literally just went from A to Z and I called each one of my clients. I am not somebody who gets on the phone. I don't like getting on the phone, and because and this is just me, but I don't want to bother people. I hate it when people just call me out of the blue and they really I don't like talking on the phone. So unless you have some reason to call me, I just don't want to chat, right? So I like to treat people the way I want to be treated. And so I usually am respectful and very passive in my marketing, but this gave me an opportunity to truly check in with everybody and just call and say, hi, how are you? Not ask for business, not talk about real estate. If questions came up, I could absolutely address it, but just a few minutes of their time and just say, hey, how are you? How can I help? Is there anything I can do for you and your family? Being very authentic. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I've always written a lot of notes. I teach on this all the time. I teach on marketing to your sphere, but it gave me the chance to truly sit down and write those letters and write those notes that I hadn't done in the past. And people aren't getting notes in the mail much anymore. Everybody relies on technology so much, and I'm just kind of getting back to the basics and doing that. Third thing is, Glenn has mentioned we were prepared for this. EXP was made for this, and so I just elevated what I was already doing and making sure my clients knew what we could do. And I was busier through the last 3 months than I was, last year when it was such a hot market, I guess you will say, but because all the other agents were trying to figure out what to do outside of our company, but we already had the tools at our fingertips. So I was really just plugging into that and adding those resources to my client. And I've seen a huge spike since then.
I absolutely love that. I do the same thing, and I've actually done the same thing. I've written a ton of notes to all of my clients, not even asking for business, but just checking in on people and just being genuine.
Yeah, I agree with Elizabeth 100%. I have a database of more than 1,500, and it really gave me an opportunity to sit down and check in and see where I was lacking in reaching out to them on a regular basis. So I was able to connect with people that I haven't spoken to in a really long time, which then led to other introductions. So I think it's very important to keep in touch with your sphere. I also did a lot of networking during that time. I mean, we had the luxury in Florida that we weren't really as locked down as other states. My sister is a realtor with EXP in Pennsylvania, and they could not even show houses or anything. They couldn't do anything. So I feel that we were, a little more fortunate in Florida, but I still did the Zoom listing appointments. That's what was different for me from last year. A lot of my meetings, I still did not do in person, even when the lockdown, just because you want to be safe and responsible as a realtor. And also the networking really improved. And then it gave me an opportunity to connect with other people with EXP and work on agent attraction and train. So that's where I was.
I love it. What do you guys feel like you guys are doing anything really differently this year compared to last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Absolutely.
I agree with Karen, what she said about the Zoom and video conferencing and things like that. So what was great is if I get in front of somebody, I usually do pretty well. So if I have a new buyer or a new listing or something like that, and I meet with them, I'm usually set. When I'm on the phone with somebody, my mind will wander. And so I was forcing myself to have those first interactions and those first conversations with my clients or potential clients on Zoom or on video conferencing, and it actually was great because we felt like we still had that connection. Another thing I've done, and I learned this from Chris Anderson, who is she's in Arizona. She was doing virtual open houses, and in Texas we were shelter in place, but real estate was still essential, and so we had to figure out how to still help our clients, right? I had a number of listings that were launched right before and actually during, and I had to figure out how to help promote them even in the current situation. And Chris Anderson was doing virtual open houses, and I said, what are you doing? Teach me what you're doing. And so I started doing those with mine, and my clients loved it. And what was great about it is instead of just an open house where people come in or they don't necessarily sign in, or you don't know how to follow up with them, because I don't normally do open houses anyway. I have everybody else, any agents that want to do my listings, they can do their open houses there. But I would do these virtual open houses sitting in my house, and people they were forced to sign in and sign up. And what was great is those that didn't show up, I could follow up afterwards and say, hey, here's my Matterport of the property. Do you have any questions? Can I help you with anything? But I could also track how many people were coming in this open house, and my clients loved it. Also, what I did is, I'm kind of proud of this. I was referred a $2 million listing, and they were trying to buy another property, and it was contingent. And I launched it, sold it, and launched it, got it under contract, and sold it within 12 days during the pandemic. And how I did that was, again, using Matterport and video conferencing. Anybody that wanted to see that property in that price point had to meet with me first. I didn't care if they were an agent. I didn't care if they were an unrepresented buyer. They had to meet with me in a virtual setting first, and we had to walk through the property together. Both of my clients were doctors, so I wanted to make sure everybody was safe. And we would go through the property, and I could eliminate people saying, oh, well, you know what, I don't want all the bedrooms upstairs, or that's not the finish out I wanted. And I'm like, great, that's all right. I just wanted you to meet with me. Of the people that were interested, early on, 2 of them said, yes, we would like to see it. And once they did that, then we went through all the precautions. Of those 2 people that saw it, both people put in offers. So I was able to qualify them in a much better way and much more efficient way. They put in offers, we got it under contract, we negotiated everything. The inspectors weren't allowing people there anyway. And then we closed it all virtually. It was pretty amazing, but I was like, wow, there's something to this. And this is something now I'm implementing into all of my business, even though we're opened up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%, Elizabeth. Isn't it amazing? You know, I was doing the 360 tours. That was something that I didn't do last year. Now, I was doing with people, clients that were out of state that wanted to purchase. I was familiar with going and doing the 360 walkthroughs and FaceTime, things like that, which I think everyone was. But with the listings, I utilized the EXP 360 tours, where you can literally be online with an individual and walk them through the house. Amazing. And I agree, Elizabeth, I definitely am implementing that strategy moving forward with my listings, because I think it eliminates, especially if, you know, it's on certain type of listings and where the seller is, you know, you don't want just everyone coming in and looking. I think it eliminates you know, people that maybe not be interested, or that the house isn't just for them. And I think that has made a huge difference during this time as well.
Well, I think the video stuff is so important. The 360, the Matterport, the video tours. I've always actually done them for all of my listings. And I've actually sold a house from just a video tour from a buyer in Alaska. Flew in, saw my video tour, flew in, bought the house, and left.
Yeah, and it's something I've done as well, but I just kind of had it as a part of my marketing package. I didn't really do anything with it. But when you're forcing people to meet with you and talk to you and have those conversations, it might be a really unique property, and you really want to make sure certain features or you know, rationale behind like how this remodel was done, you want to make sure you get that across, and they're not going to necessarily see that if they're just looking online. So forcing them to meet with me, it was great, and my clients loved it, and it eliminated a lot of the looky-loos, even though during that time I kept telling my clients, if somebody's looking right now, it's because they have to look. They're not just casually looking. And so we didn't want to eliminate any of those people, but we wanted to also be mindful of keeping them safe and not wasting anybody's time.
I've actually somewhat enjoyed the pandemic too. To be honest with you, it really has eliminated the looky-loos, just wanting to go out and just look at houses. We've actually been like super qualified buyers, coming to look, and I'm definitely going to take, a thing from you, Elizabeth, and start meeting with people that way. I absolutely love that, to qualify people for listings.
I'm an extrovert, but I've kind of become an introvert, and I like being able to sit in my office and not take off my PJs and just change my shirt so it looks like I'm professional and not have to go anywhere. I mean, I've got 4 little ones, and so it's just kind of nice that I don't have to race across town, and they're working off of my schedule instead of me rearranging my life for theirs.
And don't you both feel that this is really going to change how the consumer moving forward when the pandemic is over looks at homes?
Absolutely.
I think so. I think it's setting a different expectation. And I think they're expecting more out of our industry, which our industry hasn't really evolved all that much. That's why I love EXP, because we're doing things so different than what other brokerages are doing. Y'all, I'm in an organization here in Austin called the Platinum Top 50. And it's the top 50 agents. It's because of community involvement. It's kind of like our ICON program, but production and things like that. And so they were having different video conferencing masterminds, trying to be reactive. They were being very reactive, trying to figure it out. And it was amazing to me that I was on these calls with these top agents, and most of them couldn't figure out Zoom or figure out how to mute their mic, or they were so behind the times. And I was like, hold on, we have an advantage. So I'm making the most of that.
What are you guys doing, to track your business, since, several people are getting, even more busy during this time? What is something that, is easy to do for, either new agents that are trying to hit the ICON, or, even seasoned agents that already are? What's one thing that, you do as far as tracking your business?
Well, I'll start. As far as me, I really utilize the KV Core database. Prior to coming to EXP, I didn't have a database. I hate to admit it. I didn't have a CRM. I mean, I kind of tracked everything in my head and on my iPhone, which was bad. And that's why when I came to EXP, I think my volume increased by like 4 million the following year, because I became organized with the tools that they gave us. So the KV Core, I've just been tracking my database, and now we can send out video with it. I also, once a quarter, go over my expenses and just make sure everything's in line and we're on budget. What's working, what's not.
For me, I always say the best database is the one you use. And so figure out what makes the most sense for you. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. I always used Excel for a very, very long time. When I joined EXP, I've been at EXP a little over 5 years now. We didn't have KV Core. So I didn't have really a CRM. And so when I pulled everything in, I was using a different CRM. But KV Core, y'all, is powerful. It's huge. It's a free CRM. So if you don't have something, I would encourage you to use the tools that we have here that are provided to the agents. And I'm trying to embrace a lot of those things too. Like I used to do Matterport a lot, but I really want to support the 360 EXP tours and things like that. So I'm slowly trying to transfer everything over to that. But mine is all in a database now. I have never been really good at tracking my stuff. I literally am old school. So I print out a list of my clients and I would just call them. And I treat all of my clients like they're one. I'm sorry, my dog's going nuts. Like they're my one and only client. And so, and I treat them all the same. So I don't get confused saying, oh, wait, what did I do with Allie last month? Oh, wait, who did I do that for? I just do everything the same. But what really, I'm very visual. So I do have my database, but I also have a whiteboard that I just literally write everybody down. My sellers are in one color, my buyers are in another. I circle the ones that are under contract, and I just do it like that. But being organized and having everything in one place is really one of the first steps you should do. And it takes time, but just do a little bit at a time, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming.
I think that is so important. I think even when I first joined up with real estate, I think I had so many things thrown my direction. I wasn't sure really where to start. So I would say I just pick one thing, master, and then, kind of move on to the next thing in your business.
And show up and plug in. I mean, there's so much information with agents sharing at EXP. I learn a ton from other people just plugging into Workplace, watching videos, watching trainings, getting into the cloud. The fact that y'all are in here is awesome. We're doing that too. It doesn't matter what your production level is. I always learn. Just keep learning and just taking a little bit of time to do that and better yourself. But it gets overwhelming. So just take little bits of pieces and just go from there. And it'll, I mean, again, it's not an overnight situation. I mean, we've been building our business for 15 years. I will say my business completely changed when I came to EXP after I was with another brokerage for 10 years. And that's because I plugged in. You know, it's been amazing. And I'm just as excited today as I was 5 years ago.
I absolutely love that. What is one thing that you guys would say that, you said your business completely changed, like when you came to EXP, but what is one thing you can tell everyone that really just took your business to the next level?
I'll go. I honestly feel what took my business to the next level was collaboration. I was with one brokerage prior to coming to EXP for 17 years. I always come from a place of abundance when I speak to other agents and want to share things, which may have not always been reciprocated at other brokers. But what I love about EXP, and when I joined here, I was just taken aback by the collaboration, and I feel that is why you can grow as a realtor, because you're being exposed to something someone else in a different part of the country is doing that might be working or might not be working, or you can learn from that. So definitely collaboration for me.
I have to agree with that. Backstory, so I was at KW for 10 years. And when I left, there were 650 agents in my market center, and I was number one. And I was about to die. And I told my husband I was getting out of the business. And he was like, "You love this." And I'm like, "No, not anymore. My passion's gone, right? It's more corporate. It's not enjoyable anymore." Came over to EXP. We had 400 agents nationally. And I just loved it because I could get back to the business. And I came over because of the stock and the collaboration. And the next year, the first full year I was at EXP, we then had 2,000 agents. I was number one. Second year, we had 5,000 agents, and I was number one. And it made me look, and it's not about being number one, but I was like, holy cow, what am I doing different? My business has completely changed in a good way. And it really goes back to collaboration. I do some luxury. I do some of that stuff here. And there was a class in the cloud early on luxury. And I'm like, oh, I teach, I share, I love to pour into others. I'm going to go add some nuggets, right? And I go into that class just like we are here, and it's two of our agents from Beverly Hills teaching on luxury. And I'm like, oh, well, let me just sit my avatar down and take a bunch of notes. And what was amazing to me was they were sharing all of their tips and tricks. They weren't holding things back because A, the better we all do and support each other, the better we all do. So why not? B, I'm not competition. They're in California, I'm in Austin. C, they know most people aren't going to do a lot of what they're being told or what they're doing. And then number four, it creates that relationship and that collaboration and the referrals and all that other stuff. And so I was able to take some of what they do in their market, which is very different than what the luxury agents or the agents are doing in my market, and implement it into my business. And that's just one example where I was so hyper local and focused on the people around me, but they're only the same people, right? We now have a 30,000 person audience where I've built relationships from all over the country with people in Georgia or Florida or Virginia. I mean, there's so many people that inspire me every single day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your business. I align with you. How can I be more like that? And we just don't recreate the wheel. Like, here's my stuff. This is what I do. And so that's unheard of anywhere else. So that's the collaboration is amazing. Plug in, get to know the agents. We all want to help. We all want to share. We teach all the time and we give all of our tricks, and they're not really tricks and secrets, but we're not holding back the secret sauce like I experienced at my other brokerage.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to add something to that. There's someone, I can't remember, it was either Rob Flick or maybe it was Brad Anderson, I'm not really sure which one, said, you have no idea who you're going to be in business with when you come in, meaning when you come to EXP. And that sentiment rings so true because the caliber of realtor at this company is just unbelievable, and that I can reach out to anybody and know that they will pick up the phone or reply to me or get back to me. And to me, that's extremely powerful. That is very powerful.
You both are so right, and I love that. For some agents, I would say, what happens like when you guys get into a funk? You talked about like you didn't want to do real estate anymore. When you were with your old company, and some people are just kind of in a funk right now. Some people didn't do really well with the pandemic, and others, have really kind of taken off. What is a couple of things, nuggets you guys can give? Like when business is kind of slow for somebody, what do you guys do for to kind of boost yourself?
Don't isolate, right? I mean, it's really easy for all of us to do that. I forced myself to stay in contact with everybody. I forced myself to call my clients. I forced myself to write letters. Just knowing that even though I was having a challenge or I was struggling, I knew that would make somebody smile and that would brighten up their day. You have no idea what kind of impact you'll make on somebody. And so that's how I approach it. Like, let me pour into others. By pouring into others, and I'm still staying connected. And it's hard. The pandemic, it's affecting all of us very, very differently. And we have a lot of our EXP family that, they weren't essential. And so I'm just trying to be empathetic and with those around me and those in our company and see how I can help and how I can make a difference. But just don't isolate. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, and I think for me, get rid of the shiny objects. I am such a shiny object person, and I hate to admit it, but I am, but I'm working on it. Get rid of the shiny objects. They don't work. Get back to the basics. And then for me, do something every day that makes you feel uncomfortable. Step out of your comfort zone, because that's what's going to get you out of your funk, and that's what's going to help you grow, and that's what's going to help you be, a better version of yourself. So I've done so many things in the past year out of my comfort zone that are now second nature to me. Even though my palms are still sweaty right now as I speak. So that's it. Get out of your comfort zone.
I like that. We all definitely need to be getting out of our comfort zone. What do you say, your number one priorities every day? Like if we had to look at each of your daily schedules that you guys have, do you guys have something like you guys do every single day to help your business?
My priorities are my family. I have 4 little ones, and they're being affected by this, and so I'm just trying to keep that balance. And so I spend time with them. But I look at my board every single day, and I'm thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? And I have a to-do list. I'm old school. I write everything down, and so I write my to-do list, and I just go through whatever I need to get done. So for me, that's just how I'm approaching it day by day. I'm more productive because I'm not running around town all day, and so I can sit here and I'm on interviews and calls and client calls and things like that. But I'm just kind of in my office going through my to-do list and getting things done that I know need to be done for that day. I just take one day at a time. Otherwise, if I look past that too much, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, agreed. And I think for me, somewhat of the same, you have to take care of yourself first. So in the mornings, I have my half hour of, gratitude, meditating, whatever you want to call it, and focus on what I want to accomplish for the day. And that also includes, not, the phone's off, do your exercise, take care of yourself, because then everything else will just be so much better.
Self-care is a big deal, and it's one thing that I've been trying. Like early on, I was doing really well. I'd go walk with the kids every day, and we'd walk around the neighborhood, and then because everybody was kind of shell-shocked and not sure what to do. And so I liked the forced stop. But now I don't know the last time I've exercised because I'm just kind of stuck in here trying to be as productive so that when we all come out of this, that I'm ahead of the game. But that's one of the things I agree with you. You need to do that. And that's one of the things I need to do for me as well.
I wholeheartedly agree. We've been taking walks around our little neighborhood here. I mean, I have 2 little ones, and I've been it's made me definitely way more productive being at home, being able to kind of work in my office in the early morning before the kids get up and get going and just getting some things done. And I also have a ton of whiteboards. I also love to write everything down and actually be able to see it.
And the other thing that, you know how I started to get back into the exercise, because Elizabeth, I did the same thing. I was kind of, you get overwhelmed with everything, and, you forget to do things you're supposed to do and take care of yourself. But so there was a Facebook group that I'm involved in that are close, agents that we collaborate with. And it was a 22-day challenge. And every day I saw this one person posting, and I'm like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. So I'm on day 17 of the 22-day challenge, which has really, if anyone wants to change something or a habit, hold yourself accountable, find a group, do a 21-day challenge together and post it somewhere. That has really helped me tremendously. And it can be whatever you want. Doesn't have to be exercise.
My 21-day challenge has been eating too many sweets every day. So there you go. I've mastered that one. Jeffrey asked me a question. He said, "What was my sales volume at KW?" I'm horrible at knowing my numbers. I never really knew my numbers, and I never followed my numbers. And I only kind of follow my numbers now just because of Icon and tracking for that. But when I was at KW, I was stuck around 8 million. I could never get past that 8 million ceiling. And the pivotal point for me was when one day we were having a conversation she was the president of the company at the time, and she owned our market center. And there were a group of the top producers, and we were trying to see what we could do to help grow our business. How could we, learn more and get past those ceilings that we were stuck on? And because we were teaching agents all the time and pouring into them, which we love. And she looked at me and said, "Are you in MAPS coaching?" And at the time, MAPS coaching, and I don't know anything about MAPS coaching now, but at the time, most of those coaches were telling us just to knock on doors and cold call. And I told her, I said, "No, I'm not going to spend $1,000 a month for somebody to tell me to knock on doors and cold call, because that's not me. That's not authentic to who I am." And she looked at me and said, "Well, you don't believe in your business." And that was interesting to me, because I was like, we're obviously not aligned, because I do truly believe in my business, but I just don't believe in business the way you think I need to do my business, right? So going to EXP, that first and second year, I have no idea. All I know is last year I did about 20 million. And I'm probably on track about that again this year. I don't know, because I don't really want to go past 20 million because I don't have as much of a balance. But I'm doing better this year than I've ever done before. In the pandemic, I reset on May 1st. I capped on June 1st. So the fact that I capped in 1 month in the pandemic is amazing to me. And I'm already on track for my 6th icon. So whatever my numbers are, they are well ahead of what KW was. And instead of getting a baseball cap every year, I get stock for doing the business I was already doing. So definitely has changed my business, but it's changed my life and my family's life.
What is something, but do you guys do anything as far as you're just talking about the MAPS coaching, and it didn't really align with, you weren't going to spend that kind of money to, just be told to cold call and go knock on doors. Do you guys do anything really now that, to invest in yourself, any kind of coaching or education?
Well, I am proud to say that I have been coaching with Janie Burke, our own one of our own VPs here at EXP, and she has been amazing. And it's it definitely helps. I think coaching, but you have to get the right coach. I've had different coaches before in the past, and like Elizabeth said, I wasted probably $6,000 one year on coaching that was not right for me. You have to find the right alignment. I definitely enjoyed the coaching because this is the one that what she's doing is totally different from what I've experienced previously. We're focusing on different things, not so much the business and cold calling, but individually, like your life and how you can make your business better.
I've never had a coach, which is interesting to me looking back, because I could see that I probably could have gotten a lot further. However, with EXP, I haven't, and I'm not saying this is just me, y'all. I'm not saying this isn't for everybody, because I know that there's some amazing coaches out there. Janie, Hank Avink, Jackie Bowman. I mean, we've got some amazing coaches in our company. But those coaches and those people and those producers are all sharing and teaching in the cloud. So my coaching is the EXP company. My coaching is plugging into the classes and reaching out to those and learning from them. I've not really had a coach per se, but I'm going to start being involved in a program called Sphere Influencer, where it's going to help me be more automated in front of my clients and in front of my database and in front of my business. And so that's something, and they have a coaching element to it as well. So I'm going to plug into that a lot more. But I'm super excited because there's a number of agents and icons that I'm friends with that have implemented that system and seen a huge increase. So that's where I struggle a little bit, because I try to do everything myself. And so automating some of the things that I know I can automate is going to change my world. And like I said, some of that coaching element would be there too. But like Karen said, find somebody you align with, and that if you're going to get coaching and that you can relate to, because there's so many different kinds of coaches. I just plug into what we have here. And no, Sylvia, I didn't cap in 1 month because of the $2 million deal. I had a number of deals that were kind of pushed that all just happened to fall in right after my cap. My last one, the one that capped me, closed me on June 1st. So it was a number of them that just had all laid up or all lined up perfectly to make it work.
And that's just the thing, everyone. I mean, you don't have to have a $2 million deal to become an ICON agent.
Yeah, and that's not normal for me. That was rare, but and then once you cap, then you do 20 transactions. So I mean, it doesn't have to be a certain price point, right? You just need to get your 20 transactions in and just make that your goal. That was my goal when I came on board. My goal was to hit ICON, and so you can absolutely do it.
Let's talk about we have talked about all of our successes in the business and like that. What is like an epic failure that you guys have had that you're like, wow, that's happened to you?
This one's always this is hard.
Oh, I know an epic fail.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I hate disappointing people, and there's a lot of miscommunications sometimes because we do this every single day, and sometimes we just assume that our clients understand what's going on. But I would say probably one of my biggest failures has been, well, I've failed a lot. I fail a lot all the time. Taking listings and taking clients that I don't need to take, that are toxic, right? I've taken overpriced listings just because I wanted the listing and I knew I shouldn't do that. And they beat me up over it. And having clients that I know aren't going to be realistic or going to be really challenging, and they just really steal your joy. And so I've learned to say no, and I've learned to turn down, and that's not because I'm in production, right? I mean, this has been along the way. It's okay to say no. You don't have to take every business that comes along the way, because there's going to be some that are going to drown you and steal your joy. And so I've had to really be discerning about that. Yeah, Christine, I don't want negative people, right? I just want positivity and try to build us all up. So that's kind of one of the big things. I've taken clients I shouldn't have taken.
Yeah, that reminds me too. So epic failure for me probably would be having people on my team that were toxic. And I'm sure everyone out there probably has some sort of experience. So what I did was finally, after years, got rid of those toxic people and replaced them with people that build me up. And I surround myself now with people that are aligned with me, my values, and how I do business. And for me, there's not a problem that I can't solve. I will find a way. I will find a solution that everyone's satisfied with. It might not be the right one, but at least everyone's satisfied. So that's probably another thing that I've learned from failures.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the lead generating business, and I'm in the solution finding business. My job is to find solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think we can all relate to the taking listings or having clients that, just weren't good for us. I know you talked about, you do a lot of, teaching here in the world. What is something that, how you're giving back to other agents and helping them, in their businesses and stuff like that here?
Who's first? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Go, Karen.
Okay, well, yeah, so for me, when I first came to EXP 2 years ago, we only had about 8,000 agents, and there weren't very many in Florida. So my giving back started 2 years ago. I had agents that came to EXP that had mentors that, at the time maybe didn't understand certain things in the business because they weren't in it as long as me. So, to this day, I have realtors that call me. I pick up my phone, I answer my phone, I'll text you, I'll email you. Your communication to me will not go unnoticed. And I help find solutions for those people, those agents. So that is, that's how I like to give back. I'm working on with Beth Silverman, trying to figure out a class to teach, because I really would like to do that. It's just kind of a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I'm working on that.
For me, there's so many different ways to give back. I just love to teach and share. So I have a number of people that are in my downline or my organization, and we have a group that I have in Workplace, and every Thursday I do Power Hour, and I have different agents or different people from around the country come in and just have an interview with them and pour into the agents and share and their secrets. And so we do that every Thursday. Every morning from 8 to 8:30, we get on a morning huddle and we ask questions. How can I help? What challenges have you had? And what are you going to accomplish today? Right? It just gets us all up and running. The summer's kind of been hard, so I'm going to probably tweak that a little bit, but it's staying connected and making sure we're all, because we're virtual, we're still keeping that culture together. Another thing is my friend Renee Funk, who is an icon out of Orlando. She and her husband have the Funk collection, and they're amazing. She and I accidentally started a podcast over the pandemic, right? And it all came from, people reach out to us and ask questions, and they lean on us, and we love to lead and we love to share and build people up. But we were really, really struggling with how to lead during these times, leading during adversity and unsure times, right? So she and I got in a conversation on, well, let's reach out to some of our leaders within EXP. And so we had Glenn Sanford come on with us and just talking about, all the different things that EXP is doing and what we can do as a company differently. And then we had Jason Guessing, and then we had Dave Kennard, and then all of a sudden, and Stacy Anna, and we had all of our leadership come on at different days, and we were doing this on a daily basis. And what we were realizing is people were really plugging in, and while we were trying to add value, we were learning so much from these leaders from all over the place. And from there, y'all, it's grown, and we've had people from all over and every kind of industry come on and talk to us. And so it's really, again, we're sharing that information, but we're learning and we're soaking it all in. We had Lee Cockrell, who was one of the executives from Walt Disney World, an incredible leader, and he led during the time of 9/11, and he was sharing. And we've had Brad Inman on, Stefan Swanepoel, the CEO of NAR. And so what we realized is, in our quest of trying to share, or trying to share with others and lead in our organizations, we're the ones in turn who are learning. So we do our podcast, and now it's live on Facebook and LinkedIn and all over the place. And it's been super fun. I mean, we're not doing it daily now because life is going back to normal, but all these people, all these leaders were saying yes because they were all at their homes, right? People that would get thousands and thousands of dollars for speaking would just come on and talk to us because they had nothing else to do. It was amazing. So we've got this podcast, and I can put the chat, I'll put it in here. It's we have a Facebook group for it. If you want to join it, you can go in and watch all of our past interviews. But all these leaders were talking about what agents can be doing now. What can they do to be in business? What can they do to grow their business? So there's a lot of great tips and tricks in there too that I'd encourage you guys to plug into.
Yeah, Elizabeth, your podcast is amazing. I've listened to it. I share it. Anyone out there right now listening, definitely Leadership from the Heart, right? Isn't that what it's called?
It is, and I'm so glad that you're watching it. And again, it's all accidental.
I love
Isn't
it.
that funny how that works?
Yeah,
but it's great.
I think what I love about it is you created it organically. It wasn't even like it was something you wanted to do. It just happened, and that's the beauty of it. And that's why it's so successful.
Yeah, there was no agenda whatsoever, because I'm always like, and I'm always honored to be on ICONversations with you guys, because I'm like, I hope whatever I'm sharing is helpful. I don't know what to share that's helpful, but it's pretty cool when something like that just takes hold. And I mean, it's been pretty awesome. So yes, I'll put it in here.
Yeah, and I think if one person takes away one little nugget that maybe makes a difference in their life, then we're successful.
Absolutely. Can't agree more. I've been taking so many notes. What are some last things Sorry about that. Yeah, what are some questions that people have for us?
Hi, Gerard Mina from New York State and Massachusetts. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, just wondering, I've been with EXP just probably 2 months, not even 2 months yet, and I'm still, trying to feel my way around. Question is, how do you go about starting a team or a group? How do you get people interested in it? What are some of the things you've done to reach out to people and tell them about EXP?
Sorry, I think my thing was froze.
Yeah. Are you speaking of your own team or agent attraction?
My own. Well, I don't have a team yet, but I'm looking. Yeah, agent attraction is what I would like to do under a a name.
Yeah, so what I've done, I partnered with another EXP agent. We happened to join within a month of each other 2 years ago, under different sponsors at the time. And I like to say that I think we're probably like one of the very few, or maybe there's other ones out there, I don't know, that we partner, and we're not in the same organization, but we are now because we partnered together, obviously. But what we're doing is, we are utilizing the KV core systems, the lead generation, the Make It Rain, which is allowing us a tremendous amount of leads that we pass on to people. And I think just connecting with agents that you like doing business with. if you did a deal with someone on the other side of a transaction, you really liked them, I'll just say, hey, you know what, John, I really, really enjoyed working with you. Can I show you, if I invite you to take a look at a business model, would you consider it, or, would you, if I send you an invite, would you, if I could, would you? That's what you want to say. And honestly, I think it's about personality and connecting, because you want to attract people that are looking for you. And then, obviously that's a good way to do it too, with the lead generation. But I think you need to determine if you want to, have your own team with your own branding, which is what we did, or if you want to just do the agent attraction and be your own individual agent.
Yeah, I would say the similar thing. I mean, that's the cool thing about EXP. There's so many different options. You can have a self-organized team, which is what I have. You can have a formal standard team or a mega team. Well, not everybody can have a mega team, but my standard team didn't work for me because I didn't want buyer's agents that were half caps, and I was responsible for the buyer's agents, right? I didn't want to be boss, which is why I didn't have my own brokerage and all this other stuff. So I just had my self-organized team, and it was agents that I'm friends with, and all of us they were going to go with me wherever I went, and we wanted to kind of be equals. But like I said, they have their own $16,000 cap. So maybe there's some people that you really like collaborating with, like Karen said, and say, hey, maybe we could join forces and have a brand. So I own the brand, but everybody's under the brand. And then you have a way to structure that and whatever works for you guys. And again, it's not one's the boss over the other one, but then you can share leads and all of how that goes. I don't really actively recruit. In fact, I think there's a big difference between recruiting and attracting, and I'm very sensitive to that. So I attract, the vibe attracts your tribe, as they say, and I'm attracting people by building my business in a big way and doing the right thing in the community the right way, and I'm very passive in it. So people, when they reach out to me, they're like, hey, I want to learn more from you, or I've seen you teach, or I've seen you do this outside. Can I get to know you a little bit better? And I'm like, absolutely. And so sometimes I have a number of people that are with EXP, but they're not in my Lux group, because sometimes they're not always a fit for whatever my goals are trying to be. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to necessarily attract people just for your team. Having the right people is going to be critical, and so just take the time to do it. And if they're not in your team, just have them plug in to EXP. But there's just a whole bunch of different ways. You just have to figure out what your ultimate goals are.
Thank you.
It looks like we had a question that somebody asked, what's the best tip to grow your business? She said knocking on doors, events, the SOI calls.
Well,
For
Alicia,
me, it's SOI. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like Alicia's, start with your SOI. I think Elizabeth probably was going to say the same thing. I mean, it's the people you know. Why knock on a door and someone doesn't know you? Start with the people that you know. If you want to build relationships, get the word out. Let them know, even your relatives. Hey, I'm in real estate now. Who do you know? Anyone, give me that's where I think it is.
Yeah, and some people will say, well, I don't know anybody, I just moved here. So let me give you a story really quick. So I was in Georgia, and I was transferred to Texas in 2008, right? I didn't know anybody. And it was the worst time in the market, or so everybody said. And I saw it as opportunity because Georgia burst. Austin was a much better market, but I didn't know anybody. But I lived in a townhouse community at the time, and there are 44 townhomes. So I just I only had one kid at the time. I put him in a wagon, and we walked around to our neighbors, and I just literally knocked on doors. But I didn't knock on doors to try and get business. That wasn't my intent, and that wasn't authentic to what I was trying to do. I honestly, genuinely was trying to get to know my neighbors and see who was around me. And so I'd knock on the door. Hi, I'm Elizabeth. My family and I just moved from Atlanta, and I just wanted to say hi. We're your new neighbor. And that's an easy conversation starter, right? And I remember a lot of things. If you don't, take a notepad with you and jot down notes later on after you walk away from the door. But I would remember that Dorothy lived 3 doors down, and she had her little dog Toto, and I'd go home and I'd write a note, hey Dorothy, it was such a pleasure meeting you and Toto, I can't wait to see you around the neighborhood. And I'd have it on my branded stationery, not obnoxiously branded, I just have my logo on a note card. But here's the thing, we didn't talk about real estate unless it came up. They'd always say, what did you do in Atlanta? Oh, well, I was a real estate agent. Oh, what are you doing here? Well, I'm a real estate agent. And then after that first interaction, I would put them in my database and I would drip on them and I'd market to them every single month, right? If you're new to real estate, write a letter, put an Excel spreadsheet together of everybody you know locally and internationally, because people are moving to Austin all the time, or wherever you are. People are moving in and out of the city. And write a note, hey, after such and such time, I got my real estate license, I'm super excited, and I've got letters that I share with people all the time. It's like, go just make it your own, send it out to everybody you know. Don't put your business cards in there, wait for 2 or 3 weeks, write a handwritten note now to everybody that you sent that letter to, saying, I hope you got my letter, I wanted to send you some of my business cards in case you ever know of anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I would be honored to work with them. And from them, just keep in touch with them. I keep in touch with my database and my clients 3 times every single month. But it's in a passive, non-threatening, non-aggressive way, forcing real estate down their throats. Just figure out who you are, and that's really, really easy. And that can supplement anything else you're doing.
I'd like to interject too. I think we need to remind people that our sphere and the people that we know, with EXP, we have no geographical boundaries. I know Elizabeth in Texas. I know people all over, and these are really relationships where we actually know each other. I think our cloud campus allows us to get to know each other in other parts of the country. Before, you would just go onto realtor.com and try and find a referral, who the best person looks like, on there. Now you actually know people. So I think you need to remind anyone, hey, if you know anyone moving anywhere, it doesn't have to be my neck of the woods. I collaborate with the top realtors in the country, and I can help you find someone in your area or someone that you know.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, find out stuff you like to do, right? If you want to be in a paddleboarding club or a rowing club or a dog park club or whatever, get involved in those organizations, get to know those people, because people align with those that they have common interest with. And so that's, again, it's just building relationships. You don't have to be like, show up at paddleboarding 101 and be like, hi, I'm Elizabeth, I'm in real estate. Don't be off-putting like that. But everybody wants to support those they know, like, and trust. And just start building those relationships. Dig into KV Core as well. Have a bunch of different funnels, right? It doesn't have to be 1 or 2. Like, I have multiple different funnels that I focus on. If you know attorneys, when I moved to Austin, I knew of an attorney. She's a wills and estate planning attorney that I'd known through some other people, and I'd known for years. I reached out to her. She is one of my biggest sources of referrals, because she has people that pass away and they have family that's all out of town. And so now she doesn't even have me interview. She's like, call my agent Elizabeth, she'll get it taken care of. Think of that. Think of family law, and I hate to say this, but divorce. There's a lot of divorce going on right now. Think of the people you know and just say, hey, if I can be a resource, please keep me in mind, right? And just put them in your database. Think of people like that you guys can support each other's businesses in different ways.
Yeah, I love that.
I just really want to thank the both of you today. Like, I've taken down so many notes and little nuggets to, elevate my business here. And I really, really appreciate everyone coming today. Are there any last minute thoughts before we all get back to business?
Well, thank you all for taking time out of your day to sit in here with us, and I hope this was helpful. I always learn a lot. Karen, thank you for sharing as well. And Alicia, thank you. I mean, it's an honor to be on the stage with you all.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. It's always an honor to be here, and I learned so much as well. So it's wonderful. And thanks everyone for being here and listening.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.